All right, now if there's currently no other capsules to pull nor boxes to pop, then what we'll do is we will move into our character creation to make a Soulknife rogue from the revised Psionic playtest material in Unearthed Arcana. Yeah, so if you're commanded, if the prompt says advantage or disadvantage, then the command you use is exclamation point 2d20. And if you rolled 1, then just roll 1 more, and then keep the highest of them. No, Raven, it looks like the Winter Court still got the best of you. Hopefully it was nothing too painful and they just turned you into a shrub or something. Custos Lupus goes for a res, asks for a res, please. You're dead, but not for long. When the spell ends, you arise to find yourself as a female ASMR bard. Oh, there you go. Now, for everyone out there, unless Sheeps or I don't see Sheeps or Dark Wolf here, so I cannot add experience points if you do win a random encounter because I'm going to be concentrating on the workshop. So unless one of those two sign in, there are other commands like you can duel each other, you can fight a wandering monster, you can roll for initiative. There's other commands that you can use, but I just know that I can't do the manual experience points give outs for completing the different biome adventures you can go on. Now, we are going to be making a character. We're going to be using the player's handbook, so we're taking this playtest material and we are bringing it back to the core. That way we can determine versus the traditional, the standardly accounted for races. Well, I'd say classes, but we already know our class. If you want to lock in a particular role, for example, character sex, race, sub-race, alignment, the character level is going to be fixed at 20, but you can roll to see if we take ASIs or feats. You can roll for background. You can go for age, height, weight. You can roll for a personality trait. You can roll for ideal bond and flaw. There's a lot of things here. If you want to spend some inspiration points on a workshop dice roll that you can to lock in a you can use to lock in a particular portion of this character. So if you all have your player's handbooks open, come on class, you knew this was going to happen, right? Then get them ready because we're going to begin making a revised Soulknife. Before going over all of the abilities, let's read the prompt about what was the concept to a Soulknife first, so we can try and incorporate this idea in some fashion to the character we end up creating together. Most assassins strike with physical weapons, and many burglars and spies use thieves' tools to infiltrate secure locations, whereas a Soulknife strikes and infiltrates with the mind, cutting through barriers both physical and psychic. These rogues discover psionic power within themselves and channel it to do their roguish work. They find easy employment as members of thieves' guilds, though they are often mistrusted by rogues who are leery of anyone using strange mind powers to conduct their business, and most governments would be happy to employ a Soulknife as a spy. Amid the trees of ancient forests on the material plane and in the Feywild, some wood elves walk the path of the Soulknife, serving as silent, lethal guardians of their woods. In the endless war among the Gith, The Gith Zerai is encouraged to become a Soulknife when stealth is required against the Githyanki foe, and in the world of Athos, a Sorcerer King often turns to a Soulknife to eliminate an enemy, just as an Insurgent Soulknife seeks to undermine that Sorcerer King's rule. As a Soulknife, your psionic abilities might have haunted you since you were a child, only revealing their potential as you experienced the stress of adventure. Or, you might have sought out a reclusive order of psionic adepts and spent years learning how to manifest your power. Alright, there's our primer, but before we get into all the goodies you get, we need to make a character first. You have an old textbook? An old textbook will work, Walleye. Yeah, there are cooldown periods on the commands. And even if your command failed, if the command was... it would reset your timer, even if the command failed to go off because of a timer. So just bear that in mind. There's a personal cooldown on commands and a global cooldown as well. All right. Let's find out the first detail about our character. Raven Star, will you please type exclamation point 1D100 to give us our first roll? Stops on a 26, so we have a female character. Mana designs, will you please type exclamation point 1D10 to give us our character race? Rolled a 7. We have a halfling, and as we're going by the player's handbook, there are 2 types here. And so let's go to Walleye Fan. Walleye Fan, would you please roll a D4, exclamation point 1D4. 1 and 2 is a Lightfoot, 3 and 4, it's a Stout. To lock in a roll, DMP, that's the workshop dice roll. Alright, Bullet Club locked in background. Stops on a 1, so we have a female Lightfoot halfling. Let's go over to our character sheet. Scoot this over, there we go. We have a female Lightfoot halfling. Halflings are SMOL, they're small. And by the way, we are making a level 20 character. Rogue Soulknife. Alright, Plunder, give me a percentile roll for the alignment, please. Oh, I'm sorry, hang on. DMP, lock that in. Hold on. Mr. Plunderloot, don't roll for that. I'll call on you for something else. DMP, will you roll a D100? Exclamation point 1D100 to roll for alignment. $58. We have a chaotic neutral character. Chaotic neutral female Lightfoot halfling. Power level high! By the way, I do want to say to everyone, power level blocks ended up... I made an offer to that group. It's a group of friends, plays Heads Up. I made an offer to send them a sort of a Heads Up relief package for when the gang can get back together. And I want to sincerely thank Power Level over here for taking me up on the offer. And you are going to be getting a pretty good thank you prize for it. And if you want me to keep it a surprise, I mean, I'll see if I can get it in the mail tomorrow to you. I'll try. Otherwise, well, just let me know. But Power Level, just know that thank you very much for the support. All right, next up. Power Level, before you leave, I want you to leave your thumbprint on this character. Power Level, will you please type exclamation point 1D100, and you're going to tell us, are we going to take all ability score improvements, or are we going to replace any of those with a feat? Oh, all right. Is everything okay, Dungeon Master? That seemed abrupt. Hey, Shedamura. And Power Level says we rolled a 60. We're going to take all ability score improvements. It's all us. All natural. Okay, DMP. Well, hey, thank you for also... Gotcha. Well, thank you for giving us the alignment for our character and leaving your mark on her. And go get some sleep and have a good day at work. We'll see you later, DMP. When you say watching D&D 5e, what do you mean, Shadamura? All right, now the background bullet. Will you please roll a D20 in chat? Exclamation point 1D20, please. Vampires in Tal'Dorei. Was it entertaining? Did you end up learning something? Was it engaging, Shadamura? And Bullet Club rolls a 13. We are an Outlander. Wow, so the party has a Hermit and an Outlander. Boop-a-doop-a-doop. Shadamura, if I can call on you to get some help here, will you please type exclamation point 1D10 to let us know what kind of an Outlander we are? Rolled an 8. All right. And we'll find out what that means in a little bit here. Outlander Soulknife. Now the question is why? And this is all part of the journey that we're taking here. All right, now, Mr. Plunderloot, I promised you a roll here. We need to roll for our random personality traits, ideal, bond, and flaw. So, Plunder, will you please type exclamation point 4D6 to give us our ideal, bond, and flaw from the first 3 numbers? Let's see, who is here that hasn't rolled yet? CG Beastie, will you please type exclamation point 1D8 to give us our first personality trait? And Mr. Plunder gives us ideal 4, bond 4, and flaw 4. There we go. Rightel, can you give me a D8 roll in chat? Exclamation point 1D8. All right. Then our first personality trait is 1. After Fav, then, can you give us our second personality trait with a D8 roll in chat? Exclamation point 1D8, please. After Fov gives us a 5. So our personality traits are 1 and 5. And our ideal bond and flaw is 4, 4, and 4. What do these mean? It doesn't matter at this point. We're simply creating an outline, a structure, and we're going to fill in the rest. So for any of you, if this is your first time seeing us create a character like this, don't worry about what the numbers mean. We're casting the bones into the augury dish, and we'll read the results later. Now, we know already that we're a rogue. Whoops. So we don't need to worry about the subclass option. We come down here, and there's no options here for favorite enemy or the like. And now it's time to determine how old is our character. And I do want to challenge you all, if you've have you ever thought about this? Have you ever considered running an older or a younger character? Remember, you could have the exact same character sheet, but what difference would it make if you have a 15-year-old character or a 65-year-old character, if everything else was the same? What were the circumstances that led to either? Custos. Oh, sure. All right, Custos, real quick. Can you please type exclamation point 1D100? Get your wolf print on this character, please, sir. Stops on an 8. Almost a child prodigy. Really close to a child prodigy. We are a young adult. A young adult Lightfoot Halfling. We are 11 plus 1d6 years. So we had a stray d6 from Plunder's roll. That was at 2. Let's roll that in here. So she is a young adult at 13. Now remember, this is simply biologically. This doesn't mean that a halfling community recognizes a legal age of whatever, or you know how like in many societies it might be 18, in Japan it's 20 when you're a legal adult. This is simply biologically a young adult phase in life. For a halfling would be 13. Hey, no, after Fov, go be social. Go say hi to everyone. This is a social platform. I couldn't be sore at you for going to hang out with your friends. What am I going to say? How dare you have friends outside of this place? Come on, forget about it. Go do what you got to do after Fov. It's not set to halfling above. We don't need to... or was it? It might have been. I don't know. But we know that we're running a Lightfoot Halfling. Yeah, there we go. Lightfoot Halfling. Is that what you mean? It's set to Tiefling. Oh, down here? Oh, shoot. I'm sorry. I thought you meant above. Well, let's see if that makes a difference. I'm sorry. I thought this isn't connected. This is not connected with the one above. Thank you for pointing that out. Lightfoot. All right. So we're going to replace... we have a 13 plus 1d7, so it's a little bit different. Yeah, hey, thank you for catching that. So this is something that will that should be amended then, is that this should be tied with what's above. Anyway, hey, good catch. Then let me get a quick, I guess give me a D8 roll. Custos, you're the one who caught this. So can you give me a D8 roll in chat real quick, Custos, if you're still here. Exclamation point 1D8. 3. All right, so she's 16. Boop, boop, boop. It looks like this needs to be filled in too. I'm going to have to work with Trustaflumph on this. Well, fortunately, in the player's handbook, in Chapter 4, all that stuff is right here. For quick reference, it's right here in Chapter 4. We have Elf, Dragonborn, Gnome, Tiefling, Halfling. We begin at 2'7", and we add 2d4 for a height modifier. And we can certainly do that. Bullet Club, can you give me 1d4? And can I have... let's see. Plunder. Plunder, can you also give me a d4 roll? Alright, so far Bullet Club says that she is 2'8". And Plunder is going to bring that up too. Oh, it's just 1d4. No R is needed. Alright, she is 2'11". 2 feet, 11 inches tall. And she is going to be 39 pounds. As the base weight is 35, you add your 2d4 and you put that number, you add that to the 35. So she's 2'11" and 39 pounds. Oh, Big Man, I'm glad you're enjoying the process. Oh, you know, Big Man, I don't know if there's a... You know what, there might be another role that you can get in on, so stay tuned, Big Man, and I'll call on you here when we get to that point. All right. So now we don't need this framework anymore. We've finished with it. We have our placeholders on our character sheet. And now that we have the outline of the character, let's fill the character in. Let's understand what the numbers mean. We roll randomly to remove our biases and to challenge ourselves to think in ways maybe we never have before. Yeah, so Bullet Club, I mean, with these stats, what? She's probably about the height and size of maybe like a 3 or 4 year old human child. So by the way, the next time y'all are like blasting kobolds, remember kobolds are about the size as a human toddler. So to be fair, I guess goblins are as well. All right, now we're going to crack open our player's handbooks, and we begin with our background. I understand, you know, in many cases, we want to go to race and class first. We're going to get there. Forget about it. I want to know who our character is. How does this character function? What does she do in the world in which she lives? Our background is going to tell us this. A background isn't just a way to get a couple skills that you want. This will do a ton to flesh out your character and to provide your dungeon master with plenty of meaty, baited hooks for story content, for world building, to get your character involved as someone in the world, so that it doesn't just turn into, well, I guess I'm a murder hobo because I really don't live anywhere. I'm not invested in the environment, and maybe there's no consequences because who cares about me? Acolyte, Charlatan, Hermit. Ooh, I went too far. Urchin. Sage. There we go, Outlander. Outlander! Our skill proficiencies are athletics and survival. We are proficient in some kind of a musical instrument. Oh, you know what? This could be the opportunity. Big Man, this could be your time to shine here, because if we go to instruments, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Big Man 76, will you please type exclamation point 1d10? Hi, Wiffle. Backgrounds provided are never meaty enough. I'm a literary carnivore. Lands on a 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. She plays the lyre. Oops. There we go. We get a language of our choice. As a halfling, we can speak Common, Halfling, and one other. Then we, ultimately, we're a level 20 character. The gear we have, maybe we're carrying around our starting staff and hunting trap for old time's sake. Maybe worth noting. So we can put down something like a staff, a hunting trap of some variety. Talk to your DM about what that is, like a snapping bear trap or a noose trap or something. A box on a stick. A trophy from an animal you killed. So a hunting trophy, which is going to be... Let's make this into a trinket. And this is going to be trinket something. Wiffle Possum, will you please type exclamation point 1D100 to give us a trinket? Number 3. Alright, I don't know what that is offhand, and we'll discover it. Let's find out if the story writes itself at the end of character creation, if somehow this trinket can come back around into the character. And if you all want to look ahead, you're welcome to, but don't spoil it. Traveler's clothes. And a belt pouch with 10 gapuz in it. Now, our origin. Remember, this is what number Outlander are we? Let's find out. We are a tribal nomad. Tribal nomad. And our background feature is Wanderer. You have an excellent memory for maps and geography, and you can always recall the general layout of terrain, settlements, and other features around you. In addition, you can find food and fresh water for yourself and up to 5 other people each day, provided that the land offers berries, small game, water, and so forth. Bullet Club says, a character of mine may have pie-faced a kobold with a hunting trap once, but now with the thought that kobolds are like human toddlers, that just sounds horrible. Well, I mean, they're what? They're about 3 feet tall and maybe weigh 30, 40 pounds? I'm sorry if I ruined a good memory for you, Bullet Club, by putting those stats to a comparison here. Ooh, pardon. So we have someone who is a part of a tribe and either has been maybe exiled from the tribe or is just a member of a nomadic tribe. Maybe maybe she's the one that is sent out to go, looking for trades or scouting for something or another as a hunter-gatherer. It's all good. No, Bullet Club. I feel like the bloom is off the rose. I think that's the phrase. Bullet Club, I hope I didn't destroy something precious to you. Okay. All right, now, what is her personality? Let's discover her personality. Her first trait is number 1. I'm driven by a wanderlust that led me away from home. So she is a tribal nomad. She is a nomad for a nomadic people. Her people may be known to wander around, but she herself seemingly has struck out in order to discover even more of the world. Maybe she's tired of the same seasonal path. And her second personality trait is number 5. I place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. Money and manners won't save you from a hungry owlbear. So people can be as highfalutin and fancy as they want, and they can have gilded swords that are flimsy, but she'll take a solid piece of iron in order to survive. You know, you can have a diet of whatever, of jellies and jams and all this, but if you're stuck out in the wild, if you need to survive, if you need to scrap and get by, and you don't know what berries you can eat because you're used to preserves, you're going to be in trouble. So she's a very practical person. I guess kind of in a way like a Bear Grylls. You know, it's not that she can't be polite, but she doesn't recognize that politeness is a part of getting by in the world, of getting by in society. And so it seems like she's the type of person who, you know, she'll burp, fart, and cuss like anyone else because I gotta burp, I gotta fart, I'm gonna cuss if I stub my toe, or if a bee stings me or something. I'll emit an oath of some variety from some place. We are not building a kobold, no. What I brought up, Wiffle, was that a kobold has the approximate dimensions of a human toddler. And so the next time that, you know, your party goes out like nuking a cave full of kobolds, it would be like hunting 3-year-olds. Because they're all about 3 feet tall and maybe 40-ish pounds. Well, I mean, she's a halfling, so yeah, she's 2'11" and 39 pounds. All right, her ideal is number 4, might. The strongest are meant to rule. And this is where we can say, well, hold up. That clearly says in parentheses evil. You have to have an evil character to have this as an ideal. Duh. Only evil people can believe in might. Nay, nay. That is not the case. Your alignment is not your personality. Your personality is not your alignment. Neither fully contain the other, but are aspects. There's nothing saying that someone who looks for opportunities and is impulsive, you know, she has that kind of fight or flight at the forefront of her mind. She's looking into self-preservation, not necessarily at the cost of other people, but in this case, her ideal is just that. She recognizes there are things that are stronger than her, and she respects that, which is why she places no stock in civility and politeness. It's fine that this says evil after it, as that would be a tendency for a selfish person to want to inflict that on other people, and maybe to an extent that she does, maybe not to conquer, but maybe to control a situation, even so she can just get out of there without even harming other people. This is showing that she respects and recognizes strength, and she does believe that the fit, you know, survival of the fittest, the strong are going to survive and are going to propagate. Yeah, kobolds are dragonborn halflings. So she very well could have struck out from her tribe so she could get stronger. Or maybe she was too strong and they feared her because of her psionic abilities manifesting. They could have even kind of like urged her to leave. Now, what is her bond to the world? Or what is a strong bond that she has? In her case, it's number 4. I am the last of my tribe. Uh-oh. And it is up to me to ensure their names enter legend. Uh-oh, what happened? This is... So, is she the last of her tribe because her people died off of a disease, of war, of starvation? Does she consider herself the last of her tribe because maybe no one else is born with her gift? Maybe her tribe used to all be psionic, and she is the only one left that was born to have psionic abilities. So yes, you know, the people continue, but the psionics in the tribe don't. And so she's the last of her true tribe. If she believes in strength, what if she's leaving the tribe, which she's considering to be weak because they don't have psionic power, and she wants to go out in the world and find another scion? You know, if she's the last, she needs to be strong to survive. What if she wants to go and find someone so she can bring about, she and her partner can bring forth more psionics back into the world. They can be this source of strength for the world. What if she's going out to find, you know, not only to find adventure and to prove her own personal strength, but she realizes that she has a gift. And she wants to build this psionic clan again. And so she wants to find another scion and have little psi babies. Maybe. In this case, in fact, this could even challenge, you know, the notion of, you know, that we might have, well, you know, pregnancy is can be a very delicate condition, especially if you're going out and getting nuked by fireballs. In this case, though, it's not sort of a default, you know, expectation of her, simply for being a woman, to get pregnant and have babies. She's in the dominant position where she is finding someone worthy to repopulate a psionic tribe. She's the one in control. She's making this as a choice, and it's not just by default, but she's on the hunt for another strong person. And she's doing this, I mean, perhaps there could be romance. There's nothing saying she can't entertain the thought of, did Khaleesi find her Drogon? Or if any of you play Final Fantasy XIV, did the sun find his moon? And if you haven't played 14 through Stormblood, don't worry, you might not get the reference. But in this case, she's in a commanding position. And so it could turn that concept on its end. Now, what is her flaw? Because we are all flawed creatures. Yes, you. And if you don't believe you're flawed, that's your flaw. You might want to fix that. Find a new flaw. And her flaw is number 4. I am slow to trust members of other races, tribes, and societies. Oh, wow. So she is, and so while she does come off, she has a very dominant personality. I think she is coming across as a very driven, dominant person. And in this case, she scrutinizes, maybe even harshly, to the point where, what if she has missed opportunities? It could be. Maybe she's actually scared of finding someone that she could see as an equal, let alone as someone to have that kind of yin-yang, shared responsibilities, dominance, submissiveness shared in various ways, as any relationship would have. She might be scared of that. And while she'll tell everyone, "Yeah, I'm out to go discover all these other things," she says that, but maybe in her heart she's terrified. Maybe she thinks she might lose a part of herself if she does what she might consider to be settle down, because she is driven by a wanderlust. It's okay to have a character that has a fear, that is scared of something that might be either expected of her by society, or expected, if not by society, then by herself. She's young, of course, this is the age when she knows everything. So we have a young, headstrong woman who realizes she's gifted, who realizes she's strong. Her people, whether they're dead or alive, but they're not like her, you know, she might be the last of her blood that has this psionic gift. That's a lot of pressure from people who are dead or alive on you to go into the world and can you restore us? Can you bring us back? Can you see that we're not forgotten in time? Now, please don't die to an owlbear. We have a very real and understandable character, everyone. And look, do we know what her dexterity score is? Do we know what her intelligence score is? No, it doesn't matter. I don't care what it is. None of those numbers matter because she is who she is right now. Regardless of the numbers, we have a character right now. Yeah, she's a rogue. That's great. She's going to get some cool stuff. I know who she is. I am compelled by her being this person. I'm not as compelled by knowing that we have a rogue character. Or that we have a halfling. Do you see why I start with the background? Look at all we did. Bullet Club, you said the connections are near infinite. And we have a saying on this channel. In fact, we have an emote for it, courtesy of Raz. Capital M, IWI. It writes itself. At least it should be working. Did I not type that correctly? Maybe not? Well, shoot. I'll have to look into that. There should be a BTTV emote for that. Anyway, it writes itself, Iwi. You know how we have Owos? You know how we have Uwus? Here we have Iwis. It writes itself. Did we have to paint ourselves at our desk and search our soul and spend months trying to develop? No! Look at this character. Not only have we created a character, we've created a society, a world in which she lived. And look, we have, what, 5 sentences? You can do this. Never doubt yourself. You have this storytelling spark inside you. Write a fantasy novel on this character, if you want. Or make her an NPC. Make her a villain. Make her a villain. Make her your character. Play this character. All right, now that we have this info, now let's find out. We know who she is. What is she as a halfling? And if any of you are ever feeling sad or you're having a bad day, please open your player's handbook to page 26 and look at her. And you will have a better day. All right, our dexterity score goes up by 2. Our speed is 25 feet, giving us a 12 climb, 12 swim, 0 fly. We have 0 dark vision. We get the lucky ability. We are also brave. That gives us advantage versus being frightened. And we have halfling nimbleness. I'm not getting into the details here because this is bread and butter PHB stuff for you. Now, for her being a Lightfoot halfling, our charisma increases by 1. And we are also naturally stealthy. You can attempt to hide even when you are obscured by only by a creature that is at least 1 size larger than you. Mana Design says, I once had a character whose flaw was to consistently, or was constantly making false quotes or sayings. I even typed up a few messed up common phrases and assigned them numbers to a die and would randomly roll and say the quote in character. It was great and funny. That is amazing. And that is awesome inspiration for others out there, Mana. That loot is just begging to be used as a great club. That's right, she is El Kabong. Kabong! So cool. And now, do you see why we didn't start with her being a halfling? Ta-da, we're a halfling. Now, we can come up with what we want this halfling society to be, and that's fine. Though we already kind of did by what kind of an outlander she is. By who she is as an individual, as a branch off of a society. So in comparison to our personality, I mean, we got some cool mechanical stuff, but, you know, does that weigh as much? Can naturally stealthy act as, you know, this is something we can do, but is that part of our personality? Now we're going to build a level 20 rogue. Just a rogue, no subclass. 20 levels of rogue. Okay? We're going to look at the subclass itself in a second. Well, more in a second. You get what I'm saying. Our proficiency bonus is a +6. We are a D8 hit die class. And as we're level 20, we get 20 of them so that we can naturally recover on a rest without needing to consume potions or spells. We are proficient in light armor. We have our weapon proficiencies. I'm simply going to put rogue proficiency as it's a custom list and it's going to save me a bunch of typing, and you can look at it in the player's handbook. We have a tool proficiency of thieves' tools. Our saving throws are dexterity and intelligence. And now we're going to get to choose 4 skills from a list of acrobatics, athletics. We already have athletics. Deception, insight, intimidation, investigation, perception, performance, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. Let's look at her personality. Who is she that, you know, given who she is, not in a meta of, okay, who's the perception monkey in the group? You? All right. Well, if you have it, I'm going to take something else instead. Is that cool? Let's look at her as someone who's had to survive on her own and can, of course, lend her talents to a party. Let's be true to who she is. You are going to have an easy time finding creative uses for the skills that you have individually if they're tied to your character instead of existing for the sake of filling in a slot in a nebulous party. You'll think more on the fly, creatively, and they'll be natural extensions of your character and not a placeholder for a living math problem. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So she's driven by wanderlust. I place no stock in wealthy or well-mannered folk. Money and manners won't save you from a hungry owlbear. She believes in might. That might be intimidation. We already have athletics as well. I am the last of my tribe, and it's up to me to ensure their names enter legend. If it's entering legend, that could even be a performance. She understands the stories. There's a strong oral tradition, a storytelling tradition. Performance might be a reflection of that. She wants her tribe to be legendary. To do so, you must know about legends and care about legends. I'm slow to trust members of other races, tribes, and societies. That could very well be, we could make something that says, well, she wouldn't have insight because she's not using it. Or she does have insight because she is measuring everyone. She's giving everyone the stink eye because she doesn't suspect or she doesn't trust them. I think stealth would fit due to her respect of might in the event she stumbled upon something above her pay grade. Yeah, because she does respect it. And also, Bullet Club, she's had to live as an Outlander on her own. She's had to go out into the world. And so learning how to sneak, to hunt. Learning how to hunt is a big thing too. So I think stealth works. I think performance, especially if we can play an instrument. She probably plays her instrument and knows these epic folk tales. Okay? Do you think she does give people the stink eye and we should go with insight so that she can try and read people? And what you might be able to do here, while animal handling is technically not on the rogue list, talk to your DM and say, look, I'm an Outlander. I'm used to being around animals in the wilderness. If I can take insight, which is kind of animal handling for humans, would you let me take animal handling instead? Now, I'm prompting this as a discussion for you. We're going to roll with what's here and work with what's here. Never be afraid to have those conversations with your dungeon master, though. Okay, so we're going to go insight, and then we get one more. We have stealth, performance, and insight. We get one more. Hey, new Monica. Well, it's not so much a warrior culture, but the fact that she's needed to hunt and live off the land. I can say intimidation because she does believe in might, and also she places no stock in the wealthy. So, you know, if someone goes up to, she's drinking in a tavern, she puts down the thing and just belches. In fact, she probably sings the first 3 lines in one of her poems, and someone goes, "How rude!" You know, it gives her the old Stephanie Tanner. You know, she could look over, take another swig, and simply, like, belch out a rumbling growl with intimidation, because who cares? Nature would be something to bring up to the DM, new Monica, though we're playing goody two-shoes. So, like, I want to bring that up, that always talk to your DM, but we're going to play goody two-shoes and stick with what's on the rogue skill list. Yeah, but otherwise, that's not a bad suggestion, new Monica. Especially for the character we've made. Which is why I want to prompt people, have that discussion with your dungeon master. So, I filled in intimidation. If you all want something else, hey. This character will be on our Discord later, and you can download her and play around with her skills. Alright, equipment, don't know. Right now, for our level 20 character, we're only going to be calculating strength weapons and dex weapons. Now, expertise. We're going to choose 2 of our skills or thieves' tools. And thieves' tools and a skill. And then at 6th level, we're going to get to have 2 more. I don't know if she's super proficient with thieves' tools. She probably learned how to, you know, pick and pry. But I think she's more of a skill-based rogue in this instance. And we're going to get expertise in 4 skills. I think athletics. Like, really, I think, well, survival? Well, maybe survival. Our background feature pretty much is a floating survival, but then again, we might be like Super Bear Grylls, because really the background feature is, you know, it provides some latent bonuses, but there might be specific things to build something or to track something in particular. So, what? Insight, survival, stealth, and athletics? I think those might be our good 4. You know, she can perform all right, and she can intimidate all right, but they're not, you know, she doesn't spend all her time trying to do either. It's just something that she can do, you know, fairly decently. We are also going to be able to speak Thieves' Cant, and in this case, talk to your DM, can this be like a trail talk? Maybe instead of thieves, it's something that rangers or other outdoorsy people... Not that there's not thieves in the wilderness. You know, if you see like 3 scratches in the pine tree, you know what that means. You know, whether they're poachers or something else along those lines. But make it thematic, right? Again, talk to your dungeon master about this. we are going to get sneak attack, and my goodness, golly gracious, 10d6. 10d6 when we sneak attack. We are casting fireballs with our daggers. We're going to have cunning action, and again, you can look up what these are in the player's handbook. I'm not going to go through these. These are vanilla-based rogue skills. We're going to get uncanny doge, evasion. By the way, rogues are arguably the best tanks in D&D 5th edition. Hot take. Reliable talent. Blind sense. Slippery mind is going to give us proficiency in wisdom saving throws. Elusive. And lastly, stroke of luck. And I will read our capstone because maybe not a lot of us get that far. You have an uncanny knack for succeeding when you need to. If your attack misses a target within range, you can turn the miss into a hit. Alternatively, if you fail an ability check, you can treat the d20 as a 20. So stroke of luck with luck. And give her the lucky feat also, right? She's super lucky. Alright. So congratulations, we have a level 20 rogue. Just a rogue. We haven't gone through the Soulknife subclass just yet, and we're going to get into that. Hey, take it easy, Bullet. Thank you for helping us build this character for as much as you had, and hopefully you're having fun with the process, and you found some inspiration with her. And you know you're having fun in partaking in our workshop. All right, we did read Soulknife here, and if you're new here and you're saying, what is this Unearthed Arcana? Well, here you go. That's how you can read along with us. At 3rd level, yeah, at some point, Bullet Club, I haven't set the time aside to go through Wildmount yet. It will happen. It's with everything that has happened in April and lingering into May. I've had to, things got really disruptive, and I was kind of just floating week to week. And I didn't have, arguably, I still don't have a lot of time to sit down and read the Wildmount book to do prep to make those characters. So an Echo Night might not happen until the summertime, when I can actually breathe again. Maybe I've taken an actual, not working staycation. I don't take vacations. I take working staycations most of the time. And so I can actually sit down and read it. I can contextualize it in the setting. And that way I can make a little better presentation for it. Because not only do I need to cover, I was calling it Wildemount, but Wildmount, I haven't gone through the Eberron book either. So there's stuff coming out here to visit. All right, so we have Psionic Talent. And this is going to manifest in 2 ways. We are getting a Psi bolstered knack and Psychic Whispers. You harbor a wellspring of psionic power within yourself, an energy that ebbs and flows as you channel it in various ways. This power is represented by your Psionic Talent die, the starting size of which is a D6. When your non-psionic training fails you, you can tap into your psionic power to help. If you fail an ability check using a skill or tool with which you have proficiency, you can roll your Psionic Talent die and add the number rolled to the check, potentially turning failure into success. And Psychic Whispers. You can use your psychic abilities to establish telepathic communication between yourself and others. Perfect for quiet infiltration. As an action, you give yourself and at least one other creature the ability to speak telepathically with each other. When you do so, roll your Psionic Talent die and choose creatures you can see up to a number of creatures equal to the number rolled. For 1 hour, the chosen creatures can speak telepathically with you, and you can speak telepathically with them, such as a squirrel. To send or receive a message, no action required, you and the other creature must be within 1 mile of each other. A creature can't use this telepathy if it can't speak any languages. Ah, bother, there goes my squirrel. And a creature can end the telepathic connection at any time, no action required. You and the creature don't need to speak a common language to understand each other. You just need to be able to speak a language. So maybe if there is a squirrel language, you could theoretically communicate telepathically with a squirrel. Changing the die's size. If you roll the highest number on your Psionic Talent die, it decreases by 1 die size after the roll. This represents you burning through your psionic energy. For example, if the die's a d6 and you roll a 6, it becomes a d4. If it's a d4 and you roll a 4, it becomes unusable until you finish a long rest. Conversely, if you roll a 1 on your Psionic Talent die, it increases by 1 die size after the roll up to its starting size. This represents you conserving psionic energy for later use. For example, if you roll a 1 on a d4, then the die becomes a d6. Whenever you finish a long rest, your Psionic Talent die resets to its starting size. When you reach certain levels in this class, the starting size of your Psionic Talent die increases. So our psionic die is a d12 at this level. And Psi Replenishment, as a bonus action, you can calm your mind for a moment and restore your Psionic Talent die to its starting size. You then can't use Psi Replenishment again until you finish a long rest. This is very similar to the fighter. It's the Cyanite. The Cyanite above. Now, they get different uses for their talent than we do, though we still get Psionic Talent, and that's a rider for some of the feats that you might be allowed to take. The same conditional concern or warning, not that it's a red flag, but maybe just a yellow one to be concerned about. This can be a convoluted mechanic. It can possibly slow down the game as people are spending time choosing what to do. Or people might lose track legitimately or make an honest mistake with how large a die that they have. Now, obviously, we can't presume someone's being a McCheater face at the D&D table when it comes to content. I'm simply saying that is a possibility for something to happen in your group, whether by hook or by crook or by accident, right? Because I could roll a d6, and in the heat of the moment, I might forget to go down to a d4. Or my brain might go, oh, I maxed out, I go up, right? And then suddenly, I'm rocking all of my skill checks with Psi Bolstered Knack. Because I'm bang, 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 I have all these... I have these huge numbers. And also, because of Psi Replenishment, and we're looking at an endgame character as well with a D12, meaning we'd have to go down to a 10, to an 8, to a 6, to a 4. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but what are the odds that we hit a 12 on a D12, an 8 on a D8, a 6 on a D6, and a 4 on a D4. And even if we do, we can then, as a bonus action, use Psi Replenishment once per long rest to keep the Psi flowing. So I don't have the percentages, but just know, depending on the type of campaign, which of course a class can't necessarily be built to accommodate everything. you will pretty much have, yeah, plenty of room for a brain fart with, in this case, as a scion. You will pretty well, unless you are super unlucky or you legitimately burn out everything, in which case you are bolstering all your stuff. You are going to just be naturally successful in this stuff. The Psi gets extra damage every swing. Or at least, on an attack. I don't know if it was every attack. It might just be one attack per round. I'd have to double check. We made it last night. You know, so as a dungeon master, be prepared for your player. You know, your player has to track the die size and the abilities that are being channeled into it, because in this revision, the Psionic Talent die is a common string through all of the abilities. Now, is it more onerous than a Battlemaster fighter with all of their techniques, or a wizard with a really burgeoning spellbook? Not necessarily. Just know it can slow things down. If you have a conjurer at your table, that can slow things down. This Psionic Talent die can also slow things down. Is it necessarily bad? Is it extra steps to achieve something that might just be easier to reflect in another way? I don't know what the other way is, but compared to, right, bringing this back to the original source of the player's handbook, it's different. It's very thematic. So there you go. It's different and it's thematic. But of course, you know, if you're a player, and I'm not saying you're cheating because you're like, well, I want to hit with my sword all the time. Well, of course you do. I want to be able to cast my spells all the time unless there's a weird circumstance. Of course you do. I want to use my Psionic Talent all the time. I understand. And you, in this case, most of the time you will. I mean, there's a certain point where you're just like, yeah, I'm never going to deplete. So just make sure you're carrying this through, because this is something that a Psionic character, that if you have it and you're not using it, why are you playing this class? So when we're taking into consideration, is this underpowered or overpowered? Everything that happens, we need to presume is happening with a Psionic Talent die. Everything, all the hits are successful in all of this. Because we do have to be munchkins. We do have to try and min-max. We have to stress test this to see if ultimately this can create a negative play environment. Right? It's playtest material. That's what Unearthed Arcana is. Alright, Psychic Blades. You can manifest your psionic power as shimmering blades of psychic energy. When you are about to make a melee or ranged weapon attack against a creature, you can manifest a psychic blade from your free hand and make an attack with that blade. This magic blade is a simple melee weapon with the finesse and thrown properties. It has a normal range of 60 feet and no long range, and on a hit it deals psychic damage equal to 1d6, plus the ability modifier you used for the attack roll. The blade vanishes immediately after it hits or misses its target, and it leaves no mark on its target if it deals damage. After you attack with the blade, you can make a melee or ranged weapon attack with a second psychic blade as a bonus action on the same turn, provided your other hand is free to create it. The damage die of this bonus attack is 1d4 instead of 1d6. So we can always be armed. We cannot be disarmed of our weapons. It's not necessarily terrible. We do it by level 3. You know, Eldritch Knights can summon their blade. So yeah, if you want to throw someone in jail, you know, I don't know, maybe society knows these people exist, or maybe they don't. As a dungeon master, take into account that magic exists. How do you keep people in jail otherwise in a world where Eldritch Blast and fireballs can happen? Then, not just Psychic Blades, at 9th level, we get Soul Blades. Your Psychic Blades are now an expression of your Psi-suffused soul, giving you finer control over them in the following ways. Homing Strikes. If you make an attack roll with your psychic blades and miss the target, you can roll your psionic talent die and add the number rolled to the attack roll. If this causes the attack to hit, your psionic talent die decreases by 1 die size regardless of the number rolled. Psychic Teleportation. If your psionic talent die is available, you can hurl your psychic blades to magically transport yourself to another location. As a bonus action, you can manifest one of your psychic blades and throw it at an unoccupied space you can see up to a number of feet away, equal to 5 times the highest number on your psionic talent die. You then teleport to that space, the blade vanishes, and your psionic talent die decreases by 1 size. You know, it consumes your talent die. You know, not terrible. If you're spending it on homing strikes, you're going to be hitting all the time. I think we're already considering that anyway. The fact that you can teleport around by level 9. It's, I don't know. I mean, you're kind of a shadow dancer monk. Or whatever, way of shadow. Is it terrible? Not necessarily. You know, you do it as a bonus action. It's eating bonus actions, which rogues have plenty of options for otherwise, so it competes against it. In fact, you can teleport up to that distance, so it'd be 60 feet on a D12. You know, maybe zapping around, although by level 9, you don't have a D12. You know, it's not terrible. It does shrink down your psionic talent die. I don't know. Nothing's terribly offensive about that. You can zip around. And by the way, this is a point. This is a point that was discussed above, where this psychic teleportation is indicated that this is a magical transportation. Anti-magic and other things will affect this. However, homing strikes is not, it is psionic, it is not magical. Anti-magic will interfere with psychic teleportation because it is specifically labeled as magic. Homing strikes is not meant to be interfered by anti-magic or wild magic because it is not described as magical. And if you're wondering about that, here in this gray box, it discusses the difference between it. So if you are playing a psionic character as a playtest, make sure you keep that in mind, that some of the things you have are magical and others are not. They're psionic. They're purely psionic. Okay. Next up is a Psionic Veil. You can weave a veil of psychic static to mask yourself. As an action, you can magically become invisible, along with anything you are wearing or carrying, for 10 minutes or until you dismiss this effect, no action required. This invisibility ends if you deal damage to a creature or if you force a creature to make a saving throw. Once you use this feature, you can't do so again until you finish a long rest, unless you decrease your psionic talent die by 1 size to use this feature again. This is magical invisibleness. So spells to detect invisibility or counter magic. I mean, you are invisible. It is magical invisibility that has a psionic source. I mean, you could spam this. Remember, our character is going 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, and then blowout, and then we spend a bonus action 12, 10, 8, 6, 4 blowout. So we can be invisible a lot if we need to. It is still tapping into this central resource, and so the management of that is, again, something careful, but this is also why you might have someone become bottlenecked because you have so many choices out of the same source. Simply a warning. I don't necessarily think... maybe... I don't know if this is super overpowered. But just realize that this can be spammed like any other die-based talent. So we can be invisible for a very long time. Have a great night, Daily. Be well, my friend. Thank you for sharing your mini. I haven't looked at it yet, but I will make sure to do so. And thank you for your support again tonight. I very much appreciate it every time that you show your generosity, sir. From the bottom of my heart. Thank you. And lastly, actually, let me get this down. Psionic Veil. And lastly, we get Rend Mind. You can sweep your psychic blades directly through a creature's mind. When you use your psychic blades to deal sneak attack damage to a creature, you can force that target to make a wisdom saving throw. And that DC is 8 plus proficiency plus dex. Unless the save succeeds, the target is stunned until the end of your next turn. And once you use this once, you can't do so for a long rest unless you decrease your psionic talent die. That is a lot of stun lock. Now, at 17th level, you are epic level when it comes to D&D 5th edition. So the fact that you can stun people, that you can stun them, what, 10 times? I mean, it's powerful, and there might be monsters that would be resistant to that. As a dungeon master, Thantos, the capsules are at 6 and 11, just as a reminder. But I do have, I have 40 $11 capsules, and I have, I think I have 42 of 49 of the $6 capsules. The numbers, at least the $6 capsules are still accurate from the Discord, but tonight we've pulled 10 of the $11 capsules already. The Boozler says, "Hey, Maddie, me and my friends recently decided to start a D&D run. We're all new, and being nominated as DM means that I'm going to have to be the one to learn. Are you cool with asking questions?" Yes, absolutely. This is a workshop. We're building a character. We're coming towards the end of the character building. But Boozler, you have found the right community. All of us were new at one point in time. We understand that, and we welcome people who are new to the hobby. We want to teach others. We want to inspire others. We want to share stories, because that's who we are as human beings. So you are welcome to ask questions here. And also, Boozler, I will invite you to join us on Discord as well, where we have an RP workshop, a mentoring workshop, where you can ask additional questions, and ask...
Many fall in the face of chaos, but not this one. Not today.
Special Snowflake, thank you very much for the host. But yes, Boozler, you are absolutely welcome. And it's fine to ask, what's a D8? It's an 8-sided die. It's not a dumb question, and you can ask all those questions that you would like. We're, not just myself, we're happy to answer, and Boozler, you might get several different answers. Not because one is necessarily better than the other, but you're going to get to choose which one might work best for your group, your table. Shadamura, tomorrow I'm playing in my Underdark campaign, and yesterday I learned that scrolls do not require components. We have a means to revive our rogue, but because it's a 5th level spell, and we're only level 6, so the bard will have to make a DC check in order to cast it. DC 15, and the bard has a +5 charisma mod, 33% chance of getting our rogue back. Well, death in campaigns can happen, and the fact there's even a chance, Shadamura, hopefully you all are appreciative of that. In different campaign worlds, like in the Tuesday game, there ain't no coming back. When you're gone, you're gone. If you can bring people back from the dead easily, that devalues life. And so at least in the world that I run, resurrection doesn't happen unless there are very, very extenuating circumstances. So I feel bad for your rogue, and I'm glad that you all can take this chance to bring him back. So, use that as something encouraging and empowering. Otherwise, maybe it was meant to be. And the rogue can come back as someone else. Yep. Well, hey, Shadamura, that's what happens in life, right? We have tough choices. We have to choose the actions that we take. There are opportunity costs to everything. And so that's the beauty of D&D, is that it does reflect. It reflects some of the things that we experience in life. Which are those hard choices? Well, you've been carrying that for a while then, huh? Thantos, you've been lurking for a while, watching and reading, looking at headphones. Oh yeah, well no, indulge yourself, Thantos. Get something that'll help you. That will help you play better. Snowflake says, I've never really participated in any games per se, but I've watched and made some characters. But I guess my lack of playing by myself never was appealing to some DMs that I talked to in person long ago. I understand some of the aspects of the lore or characters, but lack mechanic expertise, but just love the interaction mainly. Is there something... is there something we can do then that can help you find a game, or help find inspiration, or do you want the statement to springboard into a discussion, Snowflake? Have a great night, Raven. Thank you for hanging out with us and for helping build this character.
Sound of feasting home.
For a better audio experience. Got it. I understand the basics for the most part. One thing that I have never picked up is how the armor class works. Yeah, D&D at its core mechanics is a meet or beat to succeed. Or if you're under, you don't succeed. Now, there are people who play with kind of a degrees of success that you might want to homebrew. But the core mechanic is you either do it or you don't. And so your armor class, if you have an armor class of 16, for whatever reason, armor can come from a lot of different sources. But let's say ultimately your final armor class is 16. When I attack you, I roll a d20 and I add an attack modifier. And let's say it's a +5. So let's roll. I rolled a 5, and if my attack modifier is 5, that means my attack is at a 10. I do not meet or exceed your armor class. Therefore, in purely mechanical terms, I have missed my attack. I do not get to deal damage, nor do perhaps some of my effects not take place. Some effects might take place just for attacking, so I don't hit, I should say. I still attack, I just don't hit. Now, if you want to narrate that as, of course you hit. You say, well, Maddie, you swing your sword at me, but, and it gives a resounding clang and sparks fly. And, you grin, only to find that I raised my shield in time as I peer over it. And then reveal the grin on my face as I'm going to hit you back. And so in this case, you've described a hit. It's just not a hit that has depleted the hit points of the opponent. And don't always think of hit points as something like health. Just because you're hit doesn't mean that you are bleeding out or injured. It could be a kind of fatigue, whether it's mental or emotional. It could just be stress on your muscles. You jog long enough and your legs are going to say, hey, cut it out. I need to take a break. And so hit point loss is kind of a conceptual, nebulous thing that allows you to narrate what's happening. Stash, thank you for following. And Boozler, thank you for the follow, too, if I didn't shout that out. Also, Boozler, don't feel compelled to try and memorize all the rules. You do not need to do so even as a dungeon master. Don't pressure yourself in that regard. Alright, so here's our character.
Sound a feasting horn.
We have a character, but you say there's no ability scores. That's fine. Ability scores come last. Ability scores are something that your character... That's what lets us do our math problems. We still have a character. But now that we know more about her, we understand the kind of lifestyle she leads, how she makes decisions. We understand the things that she can do. Now let's put a little bit of fuel into that engine, right? We have a chassis. We have the chassis of our character. Let's drop the engine. Our ability scores are the engine for our character. Grant, thank you very much for the follow as well. Welcome aboard. We are using the standard array 15, 14, 13, 12, 10, 8. Then we're going to add our racial modifiers. And then... No, and then. And then... No, and then. And then, and then, and then, and then, and then. We are going to add ability score improvements. And as a rogue, remember, we get a bonus one, right? We get the normal 4, 8, 12, 16, 19. Oh ho, at level 10, we get an extra sneaky little one in there. So given who she is, given her background, not just that she's a rogue, I mean, she will most likely be dexterous. She's a strong person as well. She believes in might. You know, she's a very physical person. She's had to be. So I think what we can do, let's drop her 15 here, 14 in strength. I think we should give her a 13 in wisdom, since she has lived out in the wild, she's had to survive. 12 constitution because of that. I think she is kind of charismatic. Let's give her a 10 there. And her intelligence is an 8. She grew up in the wilds. I don't think she had a lot of book learning. Now, she might have picked up stuff from people. You know, that could reflect why she has a proficiency in an intelligence saving throw. But I don't think she's especially book smart. And I'm comfortable giving her an 8 in intelligence here. Hey, Purple Neko, good to see you again. Yeah, hey, it's good to see you, Purple. After adding our racial modifiers, that's a 17 dexterity. That's an 11 charisma. And now we get to add 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Because in our random seeding of the character, we did not roll that we're going to replace an ASI with a feat. So let's do this. Let's round up charisma and dexterity. Okay. I think we should definitely increase her strength. And in fact, we are going to... Let's put her wisdom a little higher as well. I think we should give her... Let's give her 3 more in wisdom. Let's give her... We'll max out her dexterity. I think she has enough baseline charisma given who she is. You know, she's not one to be all highfalutin or well-mannered. So she has enough. If she wants to intimidate, you know, she can get a point across. But she is a very physical character. She is slow to trust. We could arguably increase this, or we could even bump her intelligence up a little bit. So that it's at least neutral and not a negative. But I don't know. It's kind of endearing to think of her more as someone who has a lot to learn, especially because she's only 16 years old as we rolled her. So I'm kind of thinking, why don't we bump up her constitution a little bit more? And now we will make her strong. And hello, Golden. And hello, Zareki. Good to see you again. Here's a fun little trick, right? Every even number in your score increases your modifier. If you're at a point where you have one left over, and you can put it into strength, put it into strength. Hey, Sapling, good to see you again as well. The reason for this is you may not get a mechanical benefit from increasing your modifier. However, your strength score plays into mechanics regarding how much you can push, pull, drag, lift, etc., and how far you can jump. So with a stray point in our strength score, we are getting mechanical benefits all the same. Even if that's taking you from an 8 strength to a 9, you can still get benefits by putting that stray 1 into strength. Yes, Zareki, we are putting on the finishing touches of our Soulknife. Now, this is going to give us a strength mod of 3, 5 dex, 2 con, -1 int, 3 wisdom, 1 charisma. This is going to give us a strength saving throw of 3 and an athletics of 15. Why 15? We have expertise. That is twice your proficiency bonus plus your ability modifier. Our dexterity saving throw of 11 and a stealth of 17. Constitution save of 2. Intelligence save of 5. Everything else I'm just going to kind of discreetly copy and paste this -1. Wisdom saving throw of 9. Insight of 15. Survival of 15. And then animal handling is 3. Medicine is 3. Perception is 3. Charisma is 1 down the line, except performance and intimidation, which is going to be 7. Passive perception is 10 plus your perception modifier. It reflects the natural awareness that you have. It saves a ton of dice rolls also. Armor class, I don't know what armor we're wearing. We're a level 20 rogue. You might have super duper leather armor, or magical plate mail that a light proficiency can still allow. So I'm simply going to put a question mark here because I don't know. Initiative is a dex check, so it's a +5, which is our dexterity modifier. And our hit points. At level 1, you get your maximum hit points equal to your hit die. So we get all 8 of our D8 hit die. For our remaining 19 levels of our 20, right? Level 1's taken care of. We're a level 20 character. We have 19 more levels. Unless you and your DM work it out otherwise, you get half +1 of your hit die. So in this case, it's going to be 5. Then, for all 20 levels, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. Here's our equation. So we're going to have bonus hit points of 40. We're going to have 95 hit points. So this is 135 plus 8. We have 143 hit points as a level 20 rogue. If we're attacking with a strength-based weapon, we are swinging at a +9. If we're attacking with a dex-based weapon, we're swinging at a +11. I'm not presuming the weapons because, again, I don't know. It could be magical, so heck, it could be 12s and 10s or whatever. Oh, Thantos, I will pull your capsules. We're almost at the end of this, and then we'll pull some capsules for you, friend. We have no spell slots. If you want to put the save against our Rend Mind as a spell save, then you can simply make it based off of Dex. So we have 11 proficiency plus modifier. So, and then 8. It's just a floating static 8. So it's 19 to save versus our Rend Mind effect. Ta-da! Oh, Sapling Archer. I can blow your mind when it comes to hit points. We can get, I think, a level 20 barbarian to something like 250, almost 300 hit points. You could be super beastly. Can we change halfling for goblin? If this is your character, talk to your DM. Heck, there is a floating available language here from being an Outlander. So if she's encountered goblins as this nomadic halfling, maybe she can already speak goblin as one of her languages. Oh, so there you go. You're playing as a barbarian. So what? At 68 hit points, you're what, about level 7? Maybe 6 or 7. Oh, there we go. No spells to worry about. As far as we know, she doesn't have a companion. So, ta-da! She's no longer a set of stats, everyone. She has earned a name. If you have a name proposal for her, then I'm open to them. If something was striking you about, who she is, what kind of a name she'd have, it could be a formal name, it could be a birth name, it could be a nickname. Maybe it's what the goblins call her, because she's in goblin territory. It could be something primitive sounding, it could be something very elaborate. But I'm open to suggestions here. And I do want to thank you all for helping to build this awesome character with me. I think, sort of in wrap-up here, I don't think that the Soulknife itself is necessarily bad. It doesn't step on toes, like what the Psionic fighter subclass did, where it's kind of a paladin. It's kind of paladin, kind of battle master fighter at the same time. This seems pretty good, and as long as you can manage as a player or a DM this psychic talent die, I think you can have a lot of fun. You'll be really consistent with your skills. You'll be really consistent with your attacks as well. Well, Zeriki, I hope you can. We do have a looking for group section on our Discord, and you can. There's other communities as well that might have a looking for group, as well as platforms like Roll20 that might be recruiting as well. And so hopefully if you're hanging out with us, Zeriki, I think you did join our Discord, if I recall correctly. If you interact with us and you're looking for a game, then you can... you'll find one. It might take some time. You'll find a game. In fact, Zeriki, if you have... depending on if you have your Friday evenings open... you can always play over at D&D time. Boozler, Eleanor would sound cool. Dylan the Dude Man, hello. Just created my first character today. Half-elf goblin. Interesting mix. Grew up as an abused concubine. Persuasive, wise, and hardy. Should be fun to play. Okay, I'm like a half-elf goblin. I mean, if you're playing with custom races, why not? Now, was this just character creation for... was this character creation for just having fun? Or you say that this is for a game? This is going to be your... So if this is your first character created, I presume this is going to be your first game played as well, Dylan? Oh yeah, so Zeriki... if you check out D&D time, then you could sign up to play in their one-shots that they run. They run 3 one-shots with 4 people each on Friday, and you would be able to play with them. Do I have anyone from the D&D time community here? Plunder, Rightel, I know that you started playing with them. Cold Spark, I don't know if you're there. Yeah, D&D time .stream. That's their site. Now the sign up for tomorrow, I guess technically today, is closed, but you might be able to get in on next week as well. And you could join their Discord. It's an amazing group of people. They are new player friendly, and it's a great time. I have fun breaking the DM's curse with them on occasion. Currently a Bronze Dragonborn Ancestral Barbarian, has some magic initiate spells. Find familiar. A +1 Great Axe named Vitala, and a Rainbow Zappy armor. What does the Rainbow Zappy armor do? That sounds interesting. Oh, a one-day campaign? Gotcha. Street smart and... Okay, no, I got it. So, Dylan, yeah, if you're getting into this, get into your character. Imagine, who she was, what has she gone through, and then adapt that. Don't just look at her as a set of mechanics for a living math problem. Play into it. Use those connections. Be wise about it. And remember, it's okay to have a character with flaws and play into the flaws as well. Crash Devil says, I'm about to start DMing. I'm playing around with a homebrew style game. Any advice to not go overboard with the homebrew and keep it fun? Crash Devil, I can give you plenty. My goodness.